I'm Justin.
I'm Josh.
I'm Austin. And a special guest.
I'm Sarah Jane.
Woo!
Thank you for joining us to watch a movie.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Have you guys seen They Live?
I haven't.
I have not.
Oh, hell yeah. I'm so glad you haven't, because I love this fucking movie.
This is a great movie. I coerced Justin to put it on his list for me when I had a small reserve of movies to myself. All right, so Josh, you know the deal. Why don't you explain it to Sarah Jane?
So, whenever you haven't seen a movie, we usually explain what you think it's going to be about, and then we'll see if you're correct once we've watched the movie.
Purely based on the title. Sometimes the year. I don't have the year in front of me, so it's...
Sometimes you know loosely what the movie's about.
So this is called They Live. What do you think it's going to be about?
It's probably about zombies. I hope I'm wrong. But it's another one of those Austin titles that you don't have anything to go...
It's a Justin title.
Well, yeah, that's fair, yeah. But it's Austin's movie. Let's be real here. I mean, it's... There's not really much to say. They Live, it's probably zombies. Who knows what kind of zombies are going to be, how the outbreak starts.
What kind of zombies do you think? Fast zombies?
He's probably slow.
Slow zombies? Talking zombies?
No.
Door opening zombies?
Scary.
So what do you think it's going to be?
I don't know. I have to think of my audience and know if this is like your movie and you're willing to put it on. My first reaction, besides thinking about my audience, was it's the Thelma and Louise 2.
They Live. It starts at the bottom of the cliff. We did it, Thelma. And they're still holding hands.
I knew it. I thought maybe they had parachutes.
Parachute in the trunk.
Yeah,
Parachute
that's
in
what
the
I
trunk
thought.
for sure.
Absolutely.
And Josh has no idea what we're talking about.
Thelma and Louise is a wonderful movie that we may put on the list sometime.
I do recognize the name.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So Thelma and Louise 2 and zombie movie.
Yeah.
If we're lucky at all, it'll be
You're
a combination
both right.
of... Yeah.
It's crazy.
Okay.
Thelma and Louise 2, Electric Undead Boogaloo. All right, here we go. We'll be back after having seen the movie. We're back with Have You Seen? We have just seen They Live.
Yeah.
All right, let's hear first impressions from the people who haven't heard it or seen it before.
It was surprising. I wasn't right at all. So, yeah, do you want to go into it now, or just what I thought?
Dive right in.
Oh, man.
I mean, I liked it. It was, started out, like it could have been a movie, just dudes walk, and I was kind of like, okay, when's it happen? When's a truck gonna slam the main character, or, they're gonna cut to a laboratory or something. But no, it was
SJ, who's the main character?
Rowdy Roddy Piper!
Oh, yeah.
It takes a while for the ball to drop in this movie. Like, there's a long while of just, like, here's this
Oh, and
guy
there's
in
some
the
big
city.
old balls when they finally drop.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a movie with a professional wrestler as a star, so of course it's got giant balls.
I was really surprised that I didn't see any boobs until the very end.
The closing shot has boobs.
Police Academy had boobs in the beginning shot. It piqued my interest, but if it wasn't for Rowdy Roddy Piper, I was peaked.
You were at, like, full peak.
I was peaking.
Had your attention.
At attention.
So Roddy Piper is a drifter. He's moving from Denver, where he said all the jobs dried up, into LA. He looks like he's ridden the rails down. He's got a pack of stuff, like a sleeping bag. He's got a bunch of, what do you call these tools? A journeyman's set?
Or he's a construction worker.
Yeah. He's looking to be a handyman, any sort of physical labor. And
physical, I'd say.
Because he goes to a construction site and they're like, this is a union gig, buddy. And he's like, well, let me talk to the ferry boss or whatever you call the union guy. I don't remember what he called him. The Mason Lodge Master?
Whatever.
Yeah.
Construction lingo, I don't know.
Union lingo.
Yeah, that union stuff. I'm in a union, but I don't know it all yet.
He ends up getting the job, or a temp job, immediately shirtless.
Yeah.
And
well, I mean,
Thank
if I looked
God.
like him, I would be shirtless all the time, too.
Canadian beefcake.
I may have stopped watching.
You were saying you liked how they left him rough and hairy in this one.
I do.
He was a very working man.
I can't imagine him in a movie where he isn't rough and hairy. Like, it wouldn't really work, would it?
Well, it's weird because in the WWF, he probably had a shaved chest at that time, but not that I would have known.
Just glistening.
I was just a youngster, but he's
Well,
the only bad guy.
They're pretty much all hairless in wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you don't want to
Yeah.
have something to grab on that somebody could give you a suplex because they got a hold of
Ooh, a chest hair grab and lift. But yeah, he was a bad guy in the
But it does
WWF.
leave a lot of options open for design. Like, you could have, like, a big heart chest.
Oh, yeah.
So Bret Hart, yeah. Undertaker could have a tombstone with like R.I.P. shaved in it.
It's funny because, in the WWF, he was against the Hart brothers. He was against, Greg the Hitman Hart.
Mhm.
Who is the wrestler that, like, went crazy?
Oh,
A
which
lot of
one?
them. I mean,
The one that went crazy and killed his family?
you should stop asking what people's names are on the podcast and just look it up before you bring it up. Because this is the third week in a row. I have to think of a name.
Oh, well, that
Well,
must have been,
Maybe it'll come to me.
post-90s.
Is it Chris Benoit?
Yes.
Okay.
Post-90s.
I need to stop giving you, like, the answer so you stop doing it.
I mean, because, WWF is
that was like triple X days, right?
Mm-hmm.
Chris Benoit and all that? Like,
That was, like,
Wolfpack?
whenever I watched it.
So late 90s?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're talking about late 80s.
Yeah, I checked out, like I said, 94. I don't really remember much after that.
Yeah, and Rowdy Piper, he was against the Hulkster, which automatically makes you a bad guy.
Yeah.
He was against
Hulkamania.
so many, man. He was against, Sergeant.
Was Bret Hart a good guy?
I think Bret may not have been. Bret the Hitman Hart, it was kind of, Jimmy
okay.
the Hammer Valentine was against, Rowdy
Tell
Roddy
me-
Piper, but
Right,
so
old feuds.
if Greg the Hitman Hart was a good guy, he was also with Brutus Beefcake, who then turned into Bruce the Barber Beefcake.
Oh, I saw
you
him
know.
at the Comic-Con a couple years
Oh, yeah,
ago.
he's
He was
a good
giving
guy.
haircuts.
I bet. I wish I could get something trimmed by Mr. Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
I've got some trim for you.
you said Bret Hart, and I thought he was a good guy, but then you said Hitman. I'm like, okay, well.
Bret the Hitman Hart. Well, they were
The
run by
Hitman
Jimmy
with the heart of
Malcolm.
gold.
Mhm. Exactly.
The soundtrack in this movie is very reminiscent of Planes, Trains, and
Yeah,
Automobiles.
it's a lot of harmonica.
Uh-huh.
And
Really
just, like,
Chicago bluesy harmonica. Which I guess was
I dug
Roddy
it.
Piper's move,
I
because
liked it.
we see him playing live once or twice
Oh,
at
yeah.
the encampment.
It was still kind of synthy. Like, you could definitely tell it was John Carpenter.
That's an interesting mix.
But
Like,
as you notice, there was a little bit of spaghetti western undertone. With,
really
you know,
reverby guitar, yeah, whistles.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Dirty Harry.
Yeah, once it started getting actiony, especially. But in the beginning, we're at the job site, and he makes a friend. Curtis? What was the...
Keith David?
Yeah, what was the character?
Oh.
Well, Keith David just shined through as himself, so we just couldn't. Keith.
And this, he invites him, he's like,
I don't
hey...
remember Rowdy Roddy Piper's name either.
That's
Oh.
true.
Roberto. But he invites him, he's like, hey, I know a place where you can get a shower and a hot meal. And he follows him there, kind of stubbornly. He doesn't say anything at first, but then he gets dressed, and they become buddies. They go to, like, a shanty town, and it's really nice. Like, there's all this food they're serving, fresh veggies. There's people who have TVs set up in the middle of, like...
Yeah, everybody looks out for
Fields.
each other.
Legumes
Everything.
galore.
Yeah.
Legumes for everyone.
Yep. I said when we were watching this, I bet they make some good beans in this place.
You
You're
were
right.
peas.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
right. We got second helpings, so.
And this is just a hobo encampment. It's where you live when you have nowhere else to go in, but you have a tent or a shack. And,
Or not.
yeah. I mean, it's LA, so you can sleep under the stars. It looks pretty nice out.
Or the smog.
He had
The sleep
it
under
looked
the
like-
smog. It creates a heat blanket, so you don't need one.
I mean, since Rowdy Piper didn't really want to wear a shirt anyway, that works.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And he notices this church is nearby this lot, where the people who have been feeding people, that's where they operate out of,
Mhm.
but they operate really late into the night, like 4 a.m. And this gets him suspicious. He's like, what the fuck's going on
It
there?
makes me wonder what he was doing. Like, why was he just walking around doing nothing? until 4 in the morning in that shit.
Because he didn't have a bed. Like, I mean, you gotta tire yourself out, I assume.
Yeah, it looks like he had a sleeping bag at least in
You're
his
right.
bagel pack.
Yeah, he's just a night owl.
He kind of forces his friends upon him, that Holly chick. I mean, she was no Thelma or Louise. Unfortunately, I was really mistaken about this movie that I just
There were no
saw.
zombies either, though, so...
Oh.
Kinda.
Well,
Yeah.
kind of.
I guess,
Talking.
Where did they come from?
They were
I guess
aliens.
everybody was the zombies.
Yeah.
Because they're all
The
asleep.
humans were the zombies and the aliens were the aliens.
They live.
Yup. Among us.
Yes. So Orwellian.
This, yeah, very Orwellian, very, like, cautionary tale against fascism and capitalism run amok.
Mhm.
Because this church is an underground operation of resistance fighters. He goes in there and they have some sort of, like, meth lab in the back with all these beakers and test tubes full of different colored
Yeah.
chemicals.
And while you're in the shanty town, there's this guy that keeps popping in and out of the TV where he's, like, giving, like, a big speech about how, like, the methane gases and stuff is, like, transforming our atmosphere to their atmosphere and, like, talking about how we're slaves.
Yeah.
But he, like, keeps cutting in and out like he's hacking it and everybody's complaining about it.
I'm sure, like, creating those glasses and those contacts was not a zero pollution operation. They contributed to climate change, those hypocrites.
Oh, how dare they! They use violence against the aliens, so they're the aliens.
But very quickly, him in this church, you see the guy that's been popping on TV.
Mm-hmm. And they seem to have a choir singing, but it's just a record playing into like 4 massive speakers. And they're having resistance meetings. They're making tech to see the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And this is when we get introduced to these chunky black glasses that,
Want some.
yeah, it's like gas station glasses for sure. It's
Yeah.
just like no label on them. And they let you see the truth, which is a black and white world where all billboards, magazines, newspapers, anything is
Subliminal messages.
Yeah.
But you see the message. Like, obey.
mhm.
What was the really funny one? where he,
Marry and reproduce.
Yeah, marry and reproduce.
But it was like a billboard
It
of
was
a
cool.
woman on a beach in the Caribbean,
Yeah.
like sex sells kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he goes to a newsstand once he puts these glasses on. And I'd never caught this before, and you said you hadn't either, Justin. He's walking around fucked up. Like, he looks like he's drunk or high or
Yeah, I
something.
always remembered it if he was, like, shell-shocked for sure. Like, he was like, whoa, what the fuck's happening?
And he gets
But
in
I
some
was watching it
altercations.
this time and I was like, man, he looks fucked up. like
And nobody
drunk.
noticed. Yeah. But the aliens start to notice that he can see them. After he reads a lot of the advertisements, he looks at a person, and they're like this crazy, gooey prosthetic with bulging eyes and no lips, so their teeth are showing.
Kind of
And
like Mars Attacks without the alien, without the brain.
yeah, they do look like that. But once he starts noticing them, because he's tripping, he just stares vacantly
And
forever.
he eventually yells at one of them.
In a shop.
Yeah.
He's like, you need a Brazilian plastic surgery, lady. That's like putting perfume on a pig. She was putting makeup on in a store.
I've come here to chew gum and kick ass, and I've run out of gum.
Yeah, this is where that originated from.
Yeah. Have you heard that before, Josh?
Oh, yeah, hold on.
Yeah?
I haven't.
No?
It's a pretty common line. I've heard it.
I'm going
I've
to use
heard
it all the time.
Pop
no.
culture
Yeah,
reference.
I've heard a lot of pop culture references of it.
What was that other one that we get later in the movie? Life's a Bitch?
And she's in heat.
Yeah,
Oh.
there it was.
Oh, good. So good. I'm going to use that tonight, hopefully, in a sentence.
I like to beat your feet.
Ooh, yeah. Okay, so he finds out people are aliens, some of the population, a good majority of them, and they're walking around buying shit. Most of them have servants with them, and you're seeing kind of a classist system
Mhm.
where the aliens are obviously rich and in charge.
Yeah.
And he gets in an altercation with 2 police because one of the aliens calls them on a 2-way wristwatch.
Yeah.
That's also a teleporter, we find out later. Pretty cool. Like, all Rolexes are secret alien tech.
Yeah.
Apple wristwatches, too.
Yeah, now it's Apple Watches.
Any
Except
smartwatch.
everybody they learned and just like make it known that you can talk into them.
Yeah, but the
So that way it's not
teleportation
weird.
feature is
So
hidden
innovative.
in the settings. You gotta go like 3 folders deep in the settings to find where you turn teleportation on. Then it's the fingerprint ID, the whole thing. You gotta set it up. So nobody does it. But some cops roll up because they've been notified that there's someone who notices them. and the cops are both aliens. So, he like strong arms one of them. Clotheslines him.
Straight up clotheslines.
Oh, this cop drops. And then he attacks the other one, kicks him a couple of times. Eventually gets their guns, which are cop custom pieces, I guess. They're these
Yeah, he pulls out that fucking dirty, hairy gun. It's like a
chrome 44. This is like the thing the Joker uses in the first Batman to shoot the Batmobile down. He pulls it out of his pants, and it's got like a 4-foot barrel. But he gets some weapons, he gets suited up, he steals the shotgun from the cop car, and yeah, he goes into the bank. And
he just goes on a killing spree.
Yeah, he's murderizing aliens left and right.
It's hard because this is like, I know him as a bad guy. I kind of like bad guys. And then all of a sudden I think he's a good guy, but he's a good guy gone bad for the good.
He's totally an anti-hero, I guess, but...
Not really. He doesn't kill people.
You're right, he never kills people.
Well, no, he kills Holly.
Okay. Holly was
How did
real
she be
bad.
a real person without the alien?
She just sold out.
Yeah, a lot of
like
people...
half the people in that place were just people that sold out.
Oh, I get it.
So,
Fuckers.
yeah.
They don't get turned into aliens. They just get converted into working
The
with
money
them.
talks.
Mm-hmm. He gets all geared up, goes into this bank, and just shoots like 11 of these aliens to death. But to everyone else, it looks like he's killing civilians, just people behind counters, workers, cashiers, that kind of thing.
Yeah, he's just on a murderous spree.
He goes out the back of the bank, and we're like, yeah, that'd be unlocked for sure.
There's no alarm.
Absolutely.
This movie is so 80s and pre 9/11. There's no armed guard at the bank when he first walks in.
First of all, the cops are beating people rather than just shooting them.
Okay.
Yeah, and every other car is a Saab 900. It's great.
Oh, yeah. This is yuppie culture. This is like the West Coast American Psycho I was saying. Because no one around notices the violence until it directly affects them. And even then, they are like, hey, aliens. Or overlords, or whatever. You should join us. Every person is just like, you should join us. Why not?
Yeah. Well, not.
No. But, we forgot that they demolished the shantytown. They go in there with bulldozers. They go in there with cops shooting tear gas and big shields and batons.
Yeah, that was
we thought it was our hometown here. We weren't sure.
We had a very similar situation. What, like 2 years ago? 3 years
it must
ago,
have
maybe?
been 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah, we had a group of people set up, and the cops went in and trashed all of their gear. It's like, thanks, homeless, but sure, throw away the tents. Mm-hmm. That's real nice. Put it on buses to other cities, why don't you? Yeah, that'll solve your problem, you dicks. It's all fucking aliens, man. No, it's just terrible people.
It would be nice if we had someone else to blame, but we don't.
Yeah. That's the downfall of this movie. We don't get to blame aliens for our problems.
Not even bad wrestler guys.
You mean wonderful wrestler guys?
Wonderful wrestler.
Because I gotta say,
I love all the choreography in this movie is like, you can tell it was done by wrestlers. It's fucking awesome.
I was on the edge of my seat cheering. You saw me. I'd be like, oh.
For an athlete, this has to rank up there in the performances. Like, top athlete performance in a movie. Because, I mean, we've got Michael Jordan in Space Jam.
Build.
We've got Shaq in, like, Kazam or whatever it was.
Yeah, and those Adam Sandler movies now. He's, like, in with that crew.
Who's in that?
Shaq.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. He's
okay.
Like, with Adam Sandler.
You're right, he's in the Grown Ups as a cop. I haven't seen that. I just know from the commercial. You gotta compete
with Dennis Rodman and Kim Jong-un. I mean, you gotta, like, really, step it up with your stylish moves.
Right? But, yeah, among athlete actors, I can't think of a better performance. Hulk is not better in any of his movies. Like Urban Commando.
What was the one where he was like a nanny?
Mr. Nanny.
Mr. Nanny.
Thanks.
Which one? Oh, Mr. Nanny. Wait, I'm trying to think. Like,
what's that one where Bill Cosby played a dead dad who was a ghost?
Oh, no. Ghost dad.
Ghost dad. I know. I was just gonna put like Patrick Swayze in the athletic, role, but
he means actual professional athlete.
He was a dancer for sure. Yeah, not to discredit that at all.
Cry.
So gives a great performance. He goes to he meets Holly, a woman with the brightest, like lightest, weird, dead blue eyes you've ever seen. But
my
she's
biggest beef with this movie is him falling for her.
He didn't fall for her.
He
He
fell
fell out the window from her.
Well,
I'm
he
talking
fell
about the whole thing.
figuratively
He
and literally.
He believes, whenever she shows up in the meeting later, he believes that she's like, I'm like, she told you she works there, man.
So Holly
And
drives
she's super rich.
like a BMW or a
She's
Saab
in
or
it.
something, one of these
It was a
luxury
Beamer.
cars, and that's your first warning sign. Anyone
She's not married either.
in like upper class is going to be
So
in
they sold
line
out.
with these aliens
Yeah,
or
they
an
sold
alien.
out.
He knows she's not an alien because he's put on the glasses and looked at her. And this is when, he kidnaps her, forces her to drive to her place out in the valley. Really nice house. And he takes the glasses off, and this is when we find out that they cause you to get real high when you put them on.
Yeah, I missed this the last couple times that I watched this. Like, I didn't realize that it made you high.
Because
I
he's
thought
like,
you just saw
oh,
the
I'm
thing.
coming down hard right now. And he's
Yeah.
like slumping against the couch.
It even says it's like a really good high,
Mhm.
but you come down hard. I was like,
It has something to do with the interference, they say later. It wasn't intentional. Like, let's make these cool glasses that let you see aliens. And
Speaking of
fuck you
aliens.
up.
Not the type of aliens you see in the South, right, Josh?
Yeah.
Little green men?
Man, big eyes. They have big eyes.
I like jewel eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The eyes were weird.
Really good design on that.
At the time, yeah.
And she's like, hey, let me make you a drink, and goes to her cool 80s bar that she just happens to have in the living room.
Mm-hmm.
He sees her going for a gun at one point because it looks like he's falling asleep, and he's like, don't fuck with me. He gets up to have a drink, and she launches this amazing spinning back fist, breaks the bottle over his head, and then pushes him out the fucking window.
Mm-hmm.
And she has a cliffside house, and
He
he
falls far.
forever. This
That's
is
a big fall.
This is like a hot rod fall down a mountainside. Like, he's bouncing and falling, and this is the desert. It's all rocks, cactuses.
Rowdy Roddy Piper.
He hits the bottom, slides to a road, and is like, oh, that kind of hurt. And stumbles off to a sewer drain somewhere to spend the night.
He was barely limping off, man. He looked pretty hurt.
He survived.
That was his
though.
nickname, Hot Rod.
Hot Rod?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Hot Rod.
Well, I was
Rowdy
mentioning
Roddy
the
Piper.
Adam Sandler movie Hot Rod because there's a great fall in that.
Andy Samberg.
Yeah, what'd I say?
You said Adam
Oh,
Sandler.
yeah, Andy Samberg, yeah. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know it was
Yeah,
the Hot Rod.
yeah.
Okay.
Because he had a temper. Quite a temper.
We get a good couple of yells right into the camera in this
Mhm.
one. You're gonna fucking do what I say
Yeah.
and solve this
His bad guy
problem.
face.
His intense face.
So cute, that mullet.
He hides out, he recovers, he's got to sleep for a week to heal from these wounds.
Mm-hmm.
And then he stumbles back into LA, which is 50 miles in the distance when you see it in the shot and he's walking towards it. That took him days to make it back there. He gets back, he goes to the construction site, and he's like, psst, buddy, I've been fucked up.
Yeah, and his friend's like, you killed like 11 people.
In a
Don't
bank.
fucking talk to me.
You're
Yeah.
not my friend.
He's like, they weren't people. Trust me, I got these magic sunglasses. I lost the pair I had, but I got a box full of them I hid in the trash.
I found
Wait,
them in the
I'll be
trash.
back. So he goes into the trash,
Ma'am,
and they're just collecting it now. Perfect timing.
he could not get anybody to try on these fucking glasses.
No, great.
I think that's part of the brainwashing, though. Like, they're like,
Why wasn't he affected?
Uh,
He immediately put them on.
because he's special, man. He's Roddy Piper.
Special.
He goes back and they're collecting the trash, so they're in the back of this trash compactor truck. He has to pull. He knows exactly what lever to pull to open the back of it because he's
Construction dude.
a construction
Oh,
nurse.
yeah, I know that.
He knows.
And he gets in there, he's looking, he finds it, and then they start tipping it up to compress it, and he's like, no, climbing all this trash in
What
a
I thought
slide.
was funny is all that trash was just like nothing but empty cardboard
And
boxes.
shredded paper.
That was it.
Not even. There wasn't a tampon in the whole the truck.
Nope, this was all shredded paper,
That
hiding,
was
like,
the
illegal
cleanest
business
dumpster
activity.
truck I've ever seen.
Yeah.
No Whataburger.
No, like, old
No
noodles from the
ketchup.
Chinese place down the street,
Oh, yeah.
like, thrown out.
Now I'm hungry.
Oh, thrown out noodles.
Dumpster noodles.
Oh.
Let it marinate in that gross trash juice.
No, you find the fresh ones at the top. So his friend comes in the alley. He's like, hey, here's a week's fucking pay, you homicidal maniac.
Yeah, don't talk to me.
Throws it
All
at
I
him.
could give you is a week's pay. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, cool.
Thank you so much.
I'd be psyched for a week's pay right now.
Right? That helps. Perfect throw, by the way.
It landed in the box of glasses.
Yup.
So
And he's like, thanks.
Hey, Keith,
But one other thing.
he's fighting alongside.
Would you like to try on these glasses?
He's fighting alongside and what we're about to get to against Rowdy Roddy Piper. Keith David's no slouch.
No.
No, he had a good
He's not as
shots.
he's not as beefy as Piper is.
He was no JYD, which is a junkyard dog who was a good guy who played against Rowdy Roddy Piper.
Okay.
WWF.
This is the point where we get at one of the best fights in cinema.
I like it.
In my opinion.
It's a good one.
What do you think, Josh?
That was
Highlight?
It was long.
It was.
It was
It
long.
was long.
These
that
are
was
just
kind of the point.
two big beefy dudes just wailing at each other.
I was on the edge. That was my scene.
You were edging
There
the
was-
whole
I
time.
was so edgy, and then he thought it was over, and then
It
it
just kept
wasn't
going.
again.
It just kept
Oh,
going.
You'd get it
cheap
like
shots.
an elbow drop, and then
Dude, they
Roddy
both-
Piper's head would come up like fucking Nosferatu and be like, I got some more punches in
I've
me.
never seen two guys fight and be like so bro with each other, and also still fight so dirty.
True friend.
Like,
Because he's
Brothers,
doing the
maybe.
worm on him at one point, dropping his knee like Thor's
pulling out
hammer.
Weapons. I'm
Oh,
like,
that-
what the fuck are you doing?
That was too far when he grabbed that wood beam.
Yeah.
And it's like, come on, man. And then he swings and breaks the guy's fucking windshield.
He's like, oh shit, I got
Drops
lost.
it.
I got lost in the bloodlust. I'm sorry.
I'll give you that week's payback.
You're my only friend. I didn't mean to break your window.
They beat
But
the
put on these damn
shit out of
glasses.
each other until his friend cannot resist anymore. Puts the glasses on and picks him up, and he's just like, I'm not gonna look. I'm not opening my eyes. You can't make me. And Roddy Piper's like, forces his eyelids. No. Like Clockwork
true.
Orange.
Piper Clark.
You didn't see the toothpicks
Yes,
because it was
exactly.
behind the glasses. Oh, that's the next one. There's gonna be a lot to say about that one.
That's a good movie.
Ooh, sadness.
That trippy milk.
Along the same lines of this one, I was thinking of adding the Stepford Wives later on too.
The remake or the original? Because the remake's real bad.
Yeah, the remake is real
It's fun
bad.
to watch.
Yeah,
Never
with,
seen either.
Ooh, Nicole
The
Kidman's in the
remakes
remake.
with Ferris Bueller, right?
Mm-hmm.
That one was bad.
You Matthew Broderick?
Yes.
Justin's not good with names.
That's okay. I have some beef with Matthew Broderick, but this is because he's got like celebrity, ties.
You
He gets-
mean he got
I'm
a get out of jail
advocating
free
the one-
card?
Oh yeah, get out of murder free card.
Yeah, we can say that because no one listens.
Oh, okay.
And it's
Well, I
It's
wasn't
on the
talking
records.
about looking like a horse and his wife the other day. I was like, I just embraced my inner Sarah Jessica.
nothing
Parker.
wrong with looking like a
It's
horse.
No, there is something wrong with killing people.
Yeah. Stick to aliens.
Alright, back to the aliens.
Because he puts these glasses on, and this dude's like, whoa, you were right. Immediately.
Well, duh.
Dude, let's go. Let's get a room.
So they're both walking down the road, and they get a room together.
Mhm.
They're taking sink baths with their shirts off.
Yeah.
And this is another, like, planes, trains, and automobiles, like, hotel room scene. They're just in there, trashing the room.
Yeah, the whole time.
With
is
no-
Yeah. Harmonica music out the ass.
That was weird.
This is when he has one of his good rage moments. Because his friend's like, what are we gonna do? And he's just like, I don't know what we're gonna do, but you're gonna think of a fucking plan, because I'm the muscle and you're the brains. I want that fight. That puts me on top.
Rowdy on top.
Oh, I'm so glad you joined us.
I can help here and there.
They go downtown and find the Resistance, a bigger cell of Resistance members. Instead of 5, there's 14 now.
Oh, yay.
And they have new tech. The dude watching the door is just standing there with a fucking pump chrome shotgun in the middle of downtown LA, and it's like...
Yeah.
Nobody
Yeah.
says anything because he
Like
thinks he's guarding like a biker bar or
No
something.
one says anything ever in
Yeah.
this movie.
Unless you, get in their way.
Yeah, the soundproofing in the 80s and 90s is amazing.
It's the cocaine eroded their
Yeah.
sinuses
Yeah,
and
that's right.
dead in their
Actually,
senses.
Fun fact, did you know that Rowdy Roddy Piper is about 75% deaf in one ear? From a chain incident. He had a chain match
Okay.
with a former wrestler. I'm
Ouch.
wondering if it was Adrian Adonis.
Okay.
It may have been the lovely Adrian Adonis, but they did some kind of like weird chain thing.
Exhibition type
and,
match.
and it hit his head so hard that it broke his eardrum.
Oh,
Actually
that's
lost about
terrible.
75% of his hearing.
That's
So no
crazy.
wonder he screamed the whole movie long.
I can't hear.
Can you hear me?
I can't hear myself scream.
Fuck. Sorry. Little tidbits.
Nice. No, trivia is always good.
We love trivia.
Another movie we found out that Roddy Piper is in is Death Comes to Frogtown.
Death Comes to Frogtown.
Which
we both
should go on the list for sure. Josh, have you seen Death Comes to Frogtown?
Me neither, Josh. Maybe we need to pair up.
So,
the beer's cold, I'm in.
Hey. They go to this resistance meeting, and one thing I gotta say, this table of guns and weapons, organize that a little better. Put up a few tables.
They had him just like someone just took a box of weapons and dumped it on the table.
Yeah, you've seen my yard. That's what it look like in my house.
Your gardening tools.
They have
just
good equipment, though.
Electricians tools.
Yeah, they
For
gear
like
up.
14 people in the resistance, they make these glasses.
It's
and
LA
like
in the 80s.
And in like a few days, they convert it to contacts.
Yeah, they got
a good scientist.
Okay, I was saying it's
Whichever of
LA
them-
because they
Yeah.
accumulate so many guns, but you're right. They have some good people working on their team on the science
Climate
department.
change.
Not a lot, though. And not all of them are good, because we got a few people who are like, we should just go on a rampage and kill people. And he's like, no!
There's like 10 of
There's
us.
like 10 of us.
And then obviously they didn't have weapons training, and that guy opened up a grenade in his own hand.
And then flew it back.
Oops.
And Roddy Piper's in the
Safety
back of the
meeting.
room like, I killed 17 of them yesterday.
With my stare.
Okay, that guy's now in charge. But it's raided. Oh, Holly shows up first.
Mhm.
Holly's like, hey,
She's been there.
I put on the glasses. You were right. You're super hot.
Sorry I tried to kill you.
Earlier when I was talking
Yeah.
about having guns
So
and
calm.
you were in control, you're in control.
And
You're
the
the
fact
one in
that she
control.
was so calm the whole time. How the fuck did he not know she was in on it?
He was blinded, man.
Never trust a big butt and not even a smile. I don't know. She didn't give it up.
No smiles, no.
She did not smile. No.
She spoke slowly.
You're right though, big butt, because we see her in that pencil skirt in the
I did.
beginning.
I noticed.
Got curves.
I took note.
And so did
commented.
he,
Arrgh.
which blinded him to her true.
Poor Rowdy.
Yeah, because they get raided. There's a shootout, and of course the police charge in with way too many people and guns, shooting all the minorities in the scene
Yeah.
first. It's very...
So many minorities shot first.
Yeah.
Where's the justice? Justin?
There is no justice.
I almost expected After They Live, the title card to pop up, which was cool spray paint, by the way, to read America 2019 or whatever.
Yeah. You could definitely
Dude, this
do that,
movie
you
could
would
be
know.
placed now.
It's so
Very
relevant.
easily could be placed now.
Mm-hmm. The cops just open fire on this resistance. They mow everyone down multiple times. This is when you get the most, like, squibs in the movie. Because they're just like, pop, pop, pop,
Next
pop, pop.
to the bank scene where he goes on a rampage.
This is worse.
Or the end, where they raid the
Right,
train
right.
station.
We got some cool pink lighting in this scene. I liked it a lot. They escape, and they're like, well, what do we do now? Because they're getting chased by the cops. And
Find the source.
he gets separated from Holly, who works at the TV station, right? Okay.
She let him know that that's where the signal was coming from or
Mhm.
something? Like,
She,
leading him
you
there?
know, she's riding the fence on this
She
one.
must got paid a lot in order to take out his friend.
Yeah. Because they're, like, running from the cops, and one of the Rolexes with the teleportation ability gets damaged. It falls to the ground, and it's like a woman speaking kind of like Siri. It's like, your phone or your watch has been damaged.
Yeah, because they said that they gave him the watches so that they could listen to him talk.
Two-way.
Yeah, because they were like, oh yeah, we can listen to him talk. We can't figure out how they teleport.
You turn the dial. We see you later. But
we did. We found out.
once it's in emergency mode, it's like, we're opening an emergency portal. Please get through in 10, 9. And it makes this cool, like matte painting portal open up on the
It's kind of like a
ground.
portable hole.
That's what a
Like,
portal is.
Yeah. Yeah. Just throws it on the ground. I think of a portal like just appearing like in thin air.
You haven't played Portal. You have to find a correct surface to
I
stick
have
them to.
played Portal.
Then you're bad at portals. No.
You nerds.
You're thinking Stargates.
Yeah, I guess.
Floating portals are
Yeah,
Stargates.
yeah.
Wormholes. Either way, they wind up at the news
Nerds.
station, and they're walking through these tunnels, and it's weird. We don't know where they are, because at first they're like, this must be their big underground base. And
It looks like a space station.
one of the guys from the hobo encampment finds them, and he's in a suit. He's sold out. I don't know what he had to offer. Like this part confuses me.
Yeah.
They let anybody sell out? I imagine
Drink their alcohol?
They
God.
probably just
I'd
choose
imagine
randomly or
they'd
something.
kill the poor and choose the rich. But
yeah, but they probably just pick random ones. Like maybe that guy sold out the raid or something.
oh, the location of the church, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
There could have been sacrificial things that we didn't see. That was
Yeah.
for,
Who knows
like,
what
they
he did.
live part
He
2.
gave them something.
Yeah, they're like, here's a list of things you have to do, and that's like the B plot.
Yeah.
But he's like, oh, you boys joined up because they find this like extravagant ballroom in this base, and everybody's having like a shareholders meeting. It looks like one of
Talking
those
about profits.
leak Scientology like presentations you see.
Yeah, but it's aliens.
Half
and
aliens,
they talk
half
about
people.
how it's like they control worlds. This
Yeah.
is like a intergalactic fascist system.
Multi-dimensional, they say at
Yeah.
one point. And he's like, oh, did you see the guided tour? So he takes him to a room where it's like a Star Wars spaceport. And they're just launching people out made of light to different like galaxies and planets.
Kind of like Galaxy Quest.
Mm-hmm. Very
Whenever
similar
it came out,
teleportation.
whenever they-
We watched that one
we
on the
watched
show.
that one. That's Best Tim Allen.
And then he takes them to the news station, and we realize we're not underground, we're not in space, we're in a building in downtown LA where they
A
film the
TV
news.
station.
And they're like, can we get in there? We've never seen a TV station before. We'd love to see the TV station. He's like, I can swing it. I got sway around here.
They were way too... I mean, I guess they've seen a lot of shit in this past couple of days, but they, in my opinion, were way too cool and calm with seeing people getting shot into space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you do at that point?
I would have just been like, whoa.
Did they read 1984?
Fahrenheit 451.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it was...
We were making the joke that on the magazine and book rack, there'd be a copy of like Fahrenheit 451.
It's the only real one.
So
It's in
Yes,
color.
it was.
every Orwell book is there, but every other book is like obey. It's like, why do we keep publishing these?
Right. Nobody's reading them.
The aliens. Why do we keep publishing these? There's no subliminal messages in them.
3 minute hate my ass.
Because they don't get it. They blast this guard away. They go into the news station and they use a grenade to open a door without even trying to open it.
Yeah.
We get
They didn't even get hit themselves, so they
Nope.
were pretty smart about
There's
that.
a lot of bad shooting by the bad guys. The cops, the police, the aliens. They're like above them in an alleyway at one point. 5 guys
And
shooting
he's like
down.
shooting them with like a
AKs.
weird diagonal.
Yeah.
It's like,
He hits them all. It's stormtrooper aim.
Yeah, he flexed his muscles for that.
And bullets just repelled.
Bing, bing, bing.
He whipped his mullet, and the golden lusciousness just like swept the bullets back at the bad guys. They go on a rampage. They kill a ton of these aliens in the newsroom. They do spare the people.
Mostly.
They're like, how do we get to the top? And he's like, okay, thank you. And this woman falls over right in front of him.
over.
He just hops over, no effort. It's like a good time to pass out. They get to the roof. His best friend's right behind him. Holly shows up, puts a gun to his head, and blows him away. And it's like,
Sad.
I know.
I still don't believe that he's gone.
Yeah.
They're both dead.
No, they survived.
They're both dead.
They're gonna have their...
Like
But they live!
they live. Just, and his friend, we gotta say, is the other person who lives in the end of the thing with Kurt Russell.
Yes. Where you don't know which one of them is the alien.
It's not Kurt Russell.
if either,
Either one of them is the
it's Rowdy.
Rowdy. It
was
like
Rowdy.
Kurt Russell. But it also looked more like Mark Wahlberg.
I think I read something that like John Carpenter once gave an interview where he said which one it was.
He lied. No, I don't
Who knows?
care.
Yeah,
It's
who cares?
no one's
Kurt
that big a
Russell.
nerd.
They have the same haircut.
They do.
They do.
It's a
That's
powerful
Power
80s
mullet.
mane.
Yeah, I want it.
So, his friend dies. Holly comes up to the roof. He finds the antenna because now he has the contacts that let him see. With no interference, so you don't get the high
Yeah, you
and
don't get high.
the weird withdrawals. But, he's like, hey, Holly. Bang! And she does one of those classic fall down, like a zombie with her eyes still open.
Yes.
Yeah, 'cause they hit the gun.
He turns around. Yeah, he's got the tiniest little gun. His friend had tiny guns the whole time. He shoots this thing, it blows up. He shoots it again. Police helicopters open fire on him.
He dies.
He might die. He got hit in the right shoulder. So it could have gone through.
Sure.
It could have bounced. His muscles could have deflected it.
Sure.
They live. We need a sequel.
I'd say so, except that he's dead.
Well, we can have his
Mark
son.
Wahlberg!
And Keith David.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
No,
Not
Roddy
just the
Piper and
voice
Keith
for
David
the
had a son
computer.
when they had that hotel room together.
Oh, good. I thought so.
And he's the main character in the next movie.
With all that technology going on down there.
Oh, man.
Rowdy David.
Rowdy David.
Keith Piper.
And this shuts the signal off. This shuts down not only the TV radio signals, but also the psychic signals that caused aliens to go
It didn't make them
unnoticed.
see the propaganda, like the subliminal message stuff. but
That's
it did-
underneath the
it
printing,
did
though.
make them see
The
the
aliens.
aliens.
And this is where we see the aliens are on the news, and people are like, "What the fuck's going on?" And people are
Sitting
at the
next to
bar,
they're like,
and the aliens are just
why do
watching
you look
TV
up ground up? Why do you look like ground up beef?
And the scene we end on, boobs. We pan up,
Sex.
and it's a blonde having sex, cowgirl style.
Mm.
Looks at the TV and is like, "Oh my god, there's aliens." Looks down, "What's wrong, baby?" And it's an alien under her. Cut to
And
black.
Credits.
Yep. Love this movie.
Yeah, it's a good one.
They didn't even. It was so good they didn't even need to introduce the boobs at the beginning.
Yeah. They were just like, "Hey."
Yeah, they had Rowdy Piper's butt the whole time.
He had that
In
nice
those
wedgie.
jeans.
That wedgie was quite nice.
Recommend?
Yes.
Yeah.
Would you recommend it?
I think that it's one of those great movies when you have a cold and you're sitting watching TNT and your friend
Oh, yeah.
Amy may have had to approve it for public television with taking out the F-bombs and maybe blurring out the boobs then. But I think I would not rent it. But I already saw it, so that's my
Right,
bias.
right.
But I think having a cold and being like, oh my fuck, I can't believe I haven't seen this before in my life, that I would enjoy.
Nice. All right. Yeah, recommends all the way around, except kind of a cold recommend.
The sick
A
recommend.
cold recommend. Yeah.
A cold recommend.
It's the first time we've got a literal cold recommend.
Fever struck.
It is so hot here.
Yeah. Oh man, you need to get your air conditioner fixed.
We can't have it on when we're recording because it's right by the
Slumlord.
It
mic.
was not just
Slumlord.
that.
I'm gonna get on that. I'll get on that. I have what you need.
You got the cool stuff.
I do. So cool.
The coolant.
I can help.
This has been Have You Seen? You can find us on Facebook at FapCheck. Also on YouTube under FapCheck. We're on iTunes under Have You Seen Podcast, and also Amazeballs is our other show. You can email us at fapcheck@gmail.com with any recommendations, corrections, omissions, hate mail, anything. Just let us know you're listening, please.
Any sign of life.
Yeah. Maybe we could get a sponsor and wear some nice underwear,
I
cook
don't
something
even
that comes in
care.
a box.
I know. This is definitely an in your underwear kind of show.
Yeah, we'll wear them on the show if you send us blue undies.
Yeah. I want a pair.
Blue undies.
Yeah, and Me
I'll come
Apron.
back.
It's
Me Apron?
Yeah, it's those made-up sponsors because we don't have real ones. I've been Austin.
Josh.
SJ.
I'm Justin.
We'll see
Beat
you
your
next
feet.
time. Beat your feet!
Bagpipes.
Came in here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. I'm all out of bubblegum.
Yeah. Oh, we should have started it with we're here to record podcast and chew bubblegum and we're all on
Right.
bubblegum.
We have way too much bubblegum.
So Chicago Bugle
It's so
podcast.
good. Bye.